Well, would you take a look at what time it is? The freaky creaky is walking around inside of my world. Aside from that being a little bit different, it is also Wednesday, my dudes. Welcome to a brand new Snapshot era. I'd love to have you join me on the ride. Tap that subscribe button if you're new here. Tap that like button if you're new or old here. And to check out this beautiful, brand new menu. Oh, wow, the updated season. It begins with a bang here. The menu panorama, no longer the trial chamber. Minecraft's palace, the most creaking biome of all time. Now, welcome to the future, old man. We're inside of the creaking update that still doesn't have a name and is also technically 1.21.4, which comes right after 1.21.3 with a total of 2 bug fixes, and at the same time is the same update as 1.21.50, so this is gonna be really bad, guys. But anyways, check out this beautiful panorama. Is that a birch tree I see in the background? Oh, perhaps a hint? Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. I'm excited though. Now in this week's snapshot, we have a ton of brand new big changes. To check out the very first one, we're gonna need to find ourselves a pale garden biome because wow, this biome, it's undergone quite a few facelifts. It's beautiful. First things first, the new flower, the eyeblossom. This flower, if you checked out last week's preview video, it's a little bit familiar sounding to you. We've got a brand new particle effect with this flower. If I place this thing down in the daytime, if it's an open one, eventually, no matter what, even if I try and like say put a bunch of different other open eye blossoms down because these ones communicate with each other, but check that out. When they close, they all close together, and there's a brand new particle effect. So at last, the whole flower communication thing, it actually makes sense there. You can see it happen almost in like a wave, if you will. As soon as one eye blossom here realizes that, hey, it's daytime and we should close up, then the rest of the eye blossoms are gonna follow, and we get that brand new particle effect. That right there, the small gray dust particles that fly up in the air, it's beautiful. On the other hand, at midnight, well, it's nighttime. These flowers will actually open up, and the same influencing thing, they all kind of work together and communicate. Oh, but that sweet glow, that sweet to beautiful glow, sure, it may be valid that it should give off a tiny bit of light, even if it's just like light level 1 or 2, but wow, look at how good this flower looks. It's gonna be so easy to confuse the eyes of this thing with the eyes of the creaker. Time for the biggest test of all time. On stream last Friday, if you joined, thanks for coming by. On stream last week, kind of tragically, we found out that a flower, while it's inside of a pot, it can still open and close. So, flipping things, oh, it already did it. It already did it. Flipping things back over to the daytime, they can open and close in the flower pot. No, please don't do that. Don't do it like that. I think it would be much more beautiful if these flowers, when placed in a flower pot, will keep whatever state that they are in. Crafting table. Ooh, did I hear a mysterious new sound from the flower as well? I think I did. Inside of the crafting table, open eye blossom, orange dye. Closed eye blossom, gray dye. It's a 2-in-1 dynamic duo. Beautiful combo. Now, hold up, because I kind of forgot one gigantic thing. Swagging things back over the main menu here. Inside of experiments, well, no longer do we have any experimental toggle at all. That means whenever this next update comes out, every single thing inside of this thing, Pale Garden, everything, it's gonna be fully released. Wandering Trader updates. I did not think I would see the day that this boy actually gets a couple new updates, but we're here. So, the Wandering Trader, we have a bunch of new things coming to the game in this next update. Surprise, surprise, the Wandering Trader will be able to deal in some of those new wares. For example, the new sapling, you'll be able to find that thing, and the new flower as well that we were just talking about. Now, of course, this is a randomized thing, which means it's not always going to happen. But either way, it's pretty cool that you could actually, like, be able to find some of this new stuff from the Wandering Trader. No need to find, like, a Minecraft's most terrifying biome or any of that stuff. The bone meal test. Another thing that we found that works perfectly at Minecraft's Bedrock Edition is if I bone meal one of these flowers, more of these flowers will spread, just like how they do with all the other flowers, and unfortunately, quiet down, unfortunately, that doesn't seem to work over here. However, on the other hand, if I was inside of the Pale Garden biome and I found some empty grass and bone mealed it, well, I'll be able to get the flowers just like that, so at least that kind of works. Now the biome itself. But first things first, all over the ground, you can see that there is pale moss all over the place. The amount of pale moss that will generate on the floor has been increased. This was a change that went down a couple of weeks ago on Minecraft Bedrock Edition. But jumping down onto the ground and immersing myself a little bit more in the biome, at last, it might be fall time in real life, But that's not where the falling ends. This beautiful new leaf, it's gorgeous. It's perfect. I love it. You walk around inside of this biome. It has me at a loss for words, to be honest. Leaves are dropping down slowly from the leaf blocks onto the ground. This is almost like what happens in the cherry blossom biome, except this time you actually have like a leaf particle effect. Now these leaves, they are not real blocks or things or anything like that. You can't like interact with them or anything, but wow, that is gorgeous. I love that. And please, Minecraft developers, hear me out. Make it happen in the other biomes too, or at least like the dark oak forest biome. Let's compromise. Come on. Look at how magical and just like beautiful this is. Now, the funny thing here is in the changelog, this is communicated to create a little bit more of an eerie atmosphere inside of the biome. But to me, that's just like good vibes, right? Listen, I still think there's no question, no doubt about it. If you want to make a real eerie atmosphere, you need more dense fog inside of this biome, because right now as it stands, if we're not going to make this biome be a little bit larger, it's really not that scary. I can see the edge of it clear as day right there. Like, I'm not scared. 0, -1 out of 10. I could be here all day long, especially with these beautiful leaves. Now, beautiful leaves, you might be wondering, what if I were to say pick up these leaves, bring them back over to my base, and place them down? If I'm doing a build with these leaves, will I get that same particle effect? The answer is yes. Look at this thing. Slowly, occasionally, particles will drift down off of the leaf block. That's so gorgeous. Wow, it's taken them only 15 years to do this one, but oh boy, I like this direction. Pale pumpkins were not added in the snapshot the single day before Halloween. This would have been the greatest plot twist of all time. Come on, step it up. Next up, it's time for a little bit of challenge. Jumping down into the ground on foot inside of this biome at nighttime. First things first, I'll notice that there are literally no flowers inside of this biome on Java. This is really weird. If I had to take a guess, it's probably because the flowers are meant to generate on grass and not pale moss, and the pale moss is overwhelming, but we're gonna have to fix that next week. Also, right here inside of this biome, running around, I'm not hearing a single, I speak to... No, that's just a flower. They tricked me. I'm not finding a single creaker. The creaking. Creak, wherever you are. Come on, buddy. You're rooting the vibe quite a bit. Let's try this one more time. In a completely different world with a pale garden biome that gets a little bit larger. As I start to move into this thing, sooner or later, eventually, hopefully, I'll be able to find a creaking. I'm running around out here in the open, completely unprotected. Oh, God. I would sure hate it if RuneScape Tree Ant and not Skeleton decides to pop up and try and, like, chase me or something. No, because the changes, they're so scary in this week. Oh, no. Guys, where is it? Did they make them less common? Well, they're fine. I'll do it myself. The creaking. So, this guy, inside of this week's update. Aha, there you are. Inside of this week's update, this guy gets a whole lot more dangerous. So, first things first, the attack right there. When this thing damages me, it does twice as much damage as it would have once done. In my 100% legit survival world, if something terrible was happening to me and I just, like, say, happened to accidentally hit the game mode switcher and flip to creative mode, well, this guy now, it will actually just wander around like it does on Minecraft Bedrock Edition. When you are in creative mode, this thing doesn't care that you are near it. It will just pretend to be a normal mob and walk around. But anyways, back in survival, the real beautiful thing. When I hit this thing, I get the particle trail that leads over to the tree. And what is this? All over the tree, a strange orange sticky substance. Resin has made its way over to Minecraft to Java. And check this out. Now we can see the mechanic in a little bit more depth here. If I hit this thing, multiple clumps of resin are formed on the tree around it. Now, it seems that I need to wait for the particles to go away if I want more resin to form. Like, if I stand here and spam, it's not really seemingly working. We're on a little bit of a cooldown. I hit it again once the particles are gone. Even more resin, and it's more than one at a time, which is wonderful. This stuff is also insta-break, just like how it was on Bedrock last week. This is such a beautiful and cool mechanic. Another cool and beautiful mechanic, if I break this with an axe... Oh, they didn't bring it over on Bedrock Edition. I mean, he twitched a lot more, but on Bedrock, it gets experience. In a spot that's a little bit more cleared out and open, let's go ahead and check out that animation one more time, because these new ones, they are so good looking. So first things first, for this one, we're gonna go ahead and get this guy to lock onto me and bring it. No, you lock onto me. I'm right here. We're gonna go ahead and oh, look at how quick it is, by the way. This thing is a full-out sprinter now. Runner, it's a track star. Oh my god. But anyways, we'll go ahead and get it into the light. Go ahead and break this heart, and look at this thing. It will twitch around weirdly and then just demanifest. That is so cool. But anyways, resin, let's talk a little bit more about this thing. So inside of a crafting table, in a 3x3, 9 resin total, I get the block. I place it down. It's an insta-break block, and this was stated by Nenbon on Twitter to be fully intentional, and therefore, hopefully, I'm knock on wood, the mechanic, insta-break, will not change. This is so cool. This is going to make this really, really useful for, say, like, scaffolding and building really quickly, and then just, like, removing all the blocks instantly. Property-wise, this block doesn't have any other properties that are going to, like, slow you down. It's not sticky, doesn't catch on fire, nothing like that. It's just a fully normal block that you can place down anywhere. On the other hand, you can take the resin material, throw it into a furnace, and get it bricked up. Once you have your hands on a little bit of bricks inside of the crafting grid in a 2x2, do a little spiral, and you get the resin bricks. After that, if you want to, you can break these down into the other brick things inside of the crafting table. Or alternatively, you could go ahead and do this all inside of the stone cutter. Now, these new blocks right here, the bricks, they do not insta-break. These are going to be a normal block that you mine with a pickaxe, but take a look at how juicy and orange and vibrant these things are. Even this creaking brick right here, which I still think needs a different top, but every single one of these brick blocks is so cool. This is going to be great for building. But speaking of bricks and building, in this week's snapshot, we have a change to the brick blocks. Now, I'm not too sure if it happened with the classic brick or if it happened with the nether bricks, but these bricks, they now all line up seamlessly. So one of these textures has been changed here to make sure this happens. Previously, the nether bricks and the orange one, the resin one, at least on Bedrock Edition, lined up perfectly. But for our classic basic one, that was not the case here. Transitioning from that note of blocks, though, let's talk about some different block changes that have happened inside of this snapshot. Every single one of these blocks, including every version of the copper door, waxed, unwaxed, oxidized, whatever. Well, every single one of these blocks that I have just placed down no longer needs a tool to drop. That means if I walk into a lantern and break it with my hand, I mean, it'll be a lot slower when compared to a pickaxe, but eventually, when it breaks, I mean, it'll break and actually drop itself on the ground. One more block that this is the case for is the brewing stand. This block will break and drop itself on the ground no matter what, every time. We've got to change to the ender chest and how this thing is going to work. So you already know that if you break this thing with a normal pickaxe, no silk touch, well, then you will get obsidian. What if I broke this thing with a hoe, or really, for that matter, any other tool that you aren't meant to use? Well, after a long extended break period, eventually I will now get obsidian to drop on the ground. Previously, if I used the wrong tool and not a pickaxe, well, I would have just gotten nothing. And a change that is quite odd and I don't fully vibe with here, the pale oak tree. When I grow this thing, no longer will I get any pale moss or hanging moss. It's like literally just the tree. I thought the pale moss mechanic was so cool. It made it like the giant spruce tree. Come on. Also, I'm just realizing why I didn't get experience earlier. It's because I placed the creaking heart down. If you place the creaking heart down and break it, it will not give you any experience. Only the naturally grown creaking hearts will, and you cannot grow a creaking heart. You will have to go out into your world and find it inside of the biome. Woodland Mansion. So we've got a little bit of interesting stuff happening with resin over here. Now, the chests inside of this thing, to be honest, they are few and far between. Like, there is not very many of them, especially if we want to talk about chests that actually have loot. However, in a super sneaky change that I actually missed previously, if you are able... I thought they hit a chest in this room. What? No? If you are fortunate enough to be able to find a chest inside of one of the rooms inside of this building, it looks like I have terrible luck. Well, if you are able to find a chest inside of this room, eventually, you have the chance to find resin inside of the chest. Lore-wise, this is crazy. How did you get the resin, my dude? Were you over at the Pale Garden? And furthermore, sort of directly tied to that one, this is a really cool mechanic that's been sitting inside of the snapshots for a minute now. Every single type of illager does not like this guy at all. Like, it will run away from this thing as quick as possible. On the other hand, a villager... Well, a villager doesn't really care about that. I mean, it's running because of the other bad guys over here. But this creaking, if the villager was smart and knew to say about the creaking, I mean, it would be, like, relatively safe. Technical changes. The technical changing of Minecraft, it continues again inside of this snapshot. We have a bunch of stuff here, some of it involving music inside of the biomes, and other stuff involving a block entity data and such. TNT minecarts have received a small update inside of this preview. TNT fuse has been renamed to just simply fuse. You also have an optional field. This is for people who are trying to create like custom TNT minecarts. This will change how much damage will happen from that explosion depending on how quick the minecart is moving. I wonder if that means the minecart updates are maybe almost done. 91 bug fixes inside of this update. We have 91 bug fixes. A lot of these bug fixes are beautiful ones too. One interesting one that I saw was cave carvers now being able to cut through snow. making snowy caves. You know, any of those caves that you might happen to find on the surface of a snowy biome, say something like this, well, they're gonna look a whole lot more natural now. You're not gonna have random snow blocks, like, cutting off of the caves. I'll admit it, maybe this will happen a little bit more inside of, like, mountains or something, but I don't know. I just thought this cave was quite beautiful. And last but not least, armor trimming. Where I'd like to wrap it up today is armor trims. Resin, it's a brand new trim material. This stuff, it looks so good, too. We checked it out with Silence in the other video, so check out that one next if you haven't yet by chance, but look at how good this stuff looks. It's fiery, it's orange, it's flaming, it's, well, it's romantically beautiful. I love it. And so, our very first Creaky Snappy. What do you think of the update so far? What would you add to it? Maybe we need more dense fog inside of that biome, man. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you enjoyed today's video and you haven't yet, tap that like button. I appreciate it. Subscribe to stay in the know with the Minecraft updates. And thanks for watching, everybody. It's been me, Waddles. I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.